thanks for coming back. I also want to share with you how to make yogurt from scratch. So what we are going to do it in is a crock pot Instapot, and this is one of the easiest way I have found. Maybe later on I'll show you how to do it on stovetop if you don't have an Instapot or a light in your oven or something like that. So we are going to start with some milk that we've got at the store. We get non-homogenized. It is low temperature pasteurized, and the cows are all grass-fed dairy cows. It's made here in the town that we live in, and it's called On Tap Dairy. They have their own pasteurization plant and bottling plant there on their farm, so they got everything from the cows to the trucks that deliver it to the stores. So we are going to use this. I'm going to use about a half a gallon, a little bit less than a half a gallon. I'm just going to pour it into the Instapot, or the crock pot Instapot. Non-homogenized, if you don't know, means that the cream is still in there, so it is full fat, no cheese, no sour cream or nothing like that has been pulled off of this and made from the cream. It's straight from the cows into the pasteurization process, into the jugs, and into the stores. So what we are going to do is I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to hit the yogurt button. I'm going to hit, it says temp and pressure, and right now low is selected, and it's going to select the high. And then I'm going to hit start again, and what it's going to do is it's going to heat up to, this thing heats up to about 170 degrees, but we are going to take it on up to 180 degrees. That helps make a firmer yogurt at the end. So we will wait until it comes up to 180 degrees. I will stir it occasionally. I have my handy dandy whisk. Put a little plate down. I just give it a stir every now and then. As it's heating up. And then I also get out my very old candy thermometer. As you can see, it starts out at 110, it goes all the way up to 430 degrees, so I don't have to worry about this breaking in there. I do want to be careful not to break the glass though. You can hook it right on the edge of the pot, turn it to where you can see the mercury climbing. And of course right now it's cold, so it's not going to read. Just every once in a while, give it a little stir. And we wait. So I have been stirring this now, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so. And not constantly, just checking on it for about 10 minutes. And we are up to about 165 degrees. As my little thermometer tells me, you can see the steam coming off. I do keep this pot uncovered right now because I want it to evaporate and reduce somewhat while it's coming up to a simmer. Getting the corners real good. It will get like a skim on the bottom. Sometimes it gets this layer on top, and most of the time that layer on top will stir back in and dissolve away, but sometimes it gets pretty thick, so I just pull it off. Now yogurt, as you know, is a probiotic rich food, so it's going to do a fermentation process. You can either go to fermentaholics.com and buy your culture there, your yogurt culture. I want to make sure that it's for yogurt. And once we get this up to 180 degrees, then we will shut off the crock pot Instapot, and let it cool back down to about 110, 115 degrees. You don't want it any hotter than that when you put in your culture. Once you do your first batch of yogurt and you have used your cultures, or you can also use like a Greek yogurt, like a little small individual cup of Greek yogurt, unflavored and unsweetened. You can put that in there and start off your first batch as well. This is not my first batch. This is many, many batches in. So I am going to use what I have left from my last batch to inoculate this batch. So once we get up to the temperature, we'll let it cool back down to 110, 115 degrees. Add our culture into it. Put the lid on it. Turn it on to yogurt, low. And I like mine to process for about 12 hours. I like it good and tangy. If you don't like it quite that tangy, then about 8 hours is going to be your mark. But after 8 hours, you start tasting it, and wherever it's at that you like that tanginess, then that's when you take it out. And I will show you, you can either put it all in a bowl and put it in the fridge, and it will be like a runnier consistency, or you can drain off some of the whey and get more of a Greek yogurt consistency. I do about half and half. I'll take about half the whey out and have a thicker but not quite a stiff Greek yogurt, but a good thick yogurt. And I'll show you how to do that in just a few minutes. Okay guys, it just beeped. We are at 170 degrees and it has turned itself off. It's saying it's done, but we know we need it to go to 180 degrees. So I'm going to hit the simmer button. I'm going to hit the high temperature and start. And I'm really going to watch that thermometer right now because I don't want it to go over 180 degrees. I don't want to boil my milk because that will scorch it. And I'm going to keep constantly stirring it for this next few minutes as it rises 10 degrees. Yogurt will last about 2 weeks or so in your fridge. I've never had yogurt go bad. I always eat it too fast. You can also use yogurt in some of your bread making, some of your baking. It makes a really good biscuit. Anytime you need a fermented liquid, you can use it in your baking. It's really good in smoothies. You can add fruit to it, yogurt, or not yogurt, granola. I make my own granola as well. I have recently been told that I am gluten sensitive, and I am also MSG sensitive. And I know I am high fructose corn syrup sensitive as well. So I try to stay with as much natural sugars as I can. So in my granola, I use maple syrup or honey as my sweetener. But in my yogurt, I don't need any sweetener at all. I like it good and tangy. And we are at 175. Wipe the steam off my thermometer. Okay. 180 degrees. I'm going to turn it off. Give it a good stir. Now I will come back periodically and check the temperature. But for right now, I'm going to put the lid on it and let it set. And then use your glass lids for doing yogurt, because the Instapot lids or the crock pot Instapot lids have a gasket inside them, and it holds on to smells from things that you have pressure cooked inside this thing. So I think the last thing I did was some beef stew. I don't want my yogurt tasting like beef stew, so glass lid, you can get it good and clean, no smells. So that goes on there. It'll take maybe an hour, hour and a half or so to go back down to 110, 115 degrees. Then I'll put the camera back on and show you how I put my culture in. Hi guys. Okay, so the yogurt is now down to 105 degrees, and that's plenty fine. But see this skim that's on top? That's what I was wanting to show you all. This right here, you can either scoop it up and take it off, or you can just blend it in, and it will completely dissolve away. Give it a good old stir here. Good old stir. Okay. So now we are done with the thermometer, and we are going to get my already made yogurt that I made about 10 days ago or so, I guess. It took me about 10 days to eat all that, about a half a gallon of yogurt. We're going to put it in this that I use. It's just a decorative ball mason jar with a lid that's got a gasket on in there, so it keeps the air out, helps keep the air out. And then that's about how much I've got left of this jar that's going to go in there, and I'm just going to put it all in there. So I just take a scraper and I am going to scrape it in. Get all that goodness in there. I don't want none of it to go to waste. That shows you too just how thick that it is. It's not like really stiff Greek yogurt thick, but I will wash my jar and get it ready for this batch to go in. Get all that off the scraper. Get it a good mix in. Okay. Now it has been setting off this whole time. But now we're going to hit the start button. Well, I'm sorry, it's already on. So we're going to hit the yogurt button. It says 8 hours on low. We want low, but I want more hours. So I'm going to go to 12. 12 hours for me. Hit the start. Put the lid on, and then that's it. That's it till tomorrow. So I will come back with the video on tomorrow and show you how I jar it up. And then once it chills, then it's set and it's ready. It's ready to eat. Thanks. Hi guys. So this morning, it's now the next day. The yogurt is done incubating or cooking at low and slow all night long. I have some I've already put into a strainer here. I use a coffee filter or a tea towel, but if you use a towel, make sure that you don't use any fabric softeners or stuff like that on there, because you don't want that in your food. But as you can see, it's straining off the whey from the solids. And let me show you what it looks like in the crock pot as well. Okay, so this is what it is going to look like the next morning. You can see how it's solids in the whey, but you can also, if you wanted this to be a thin yogurt, then you would just stir it up. With a whisk would be better. But you could just stir it up and it would reconstitute. And in the refrigerator, it stays pretty good together. You might get a little liquid on top, but it pretty much stays together. And then over here, you have more of the solids. And then there is the whey. Yogurt you can use in many baking recipes, and you can also use the whey in many recipes as well. Anything that called for water, especially in baking recipes, anything that called for water, you could use whey, and it would add more minerals, more vitamins. The probiotic feature, if you're going to bake it, you're going to kill the probiotic, so it's not really a probiotic feature in baking goods, but it does help with creating a little bit more rise. The yogurt as well. You can use this in like making biscuits, and it helps make them fluffier and lighter, more moist. I would use this instead of the milk. So the solids in here is going to make more of a Greek style yogurt. It's not going to be near as thick as the Greek yogurt that you would find in the store, you know, kind of grainy and thick. This is going to have more of a creamy mixture to it, or a creamy texture to it. And then the whey you can also use if you have chickens or dogs or cats or whatever. You can mix it in with their food, and it gives them a probiotic feature to their food. They love it. They really love it. Now all I'm going to do is take the solids and put them in my jar. I wash my jar in between uses, but I use the same jar each time. Take that. You can push this out if you do want the thick Greek texture. You can push out the whey even more. We'll add another coffee filter and do another round. And I'm just going to sit and wait for that to drain. As you can see, it's already working its way through there. And then the last thing I'm going to do is take my whisk give it a good mix. And then that's the end product that you're going to have. And as it refrigerates and gets a little bit cool, then it will solidify even more. And then that's it. That's the whole process. Just put it in the fridge. When it's cool, it's ready to eat. Thanks.